Starting lineup: Kled, Nasus, Yone, Mordekaiser, Lux, up against illaoi, Warwick, Kaylee, Ash, Zoe. Rating of the picks for a casual game. We're gonna bump Kled down from a 9 to an 8 because of lack of production. So that's an 8. Nasus as a jungler, 5. Yone as a mid, 8. Mordekaiser as a shooter, 7. Lux in support, 6. Warwick in the jungle, 8. Kaylee as a mid, 7. Ash as a shooter, 6. Zoe in support, 5. We have here French boy, and French boy. And perhaps migrant French boy here. This is a very explosive cocktail. You're going to want to see this one if you enjoy perfect jungler synergy here. Without having to say a word, this jungler had a very good understanding of what I expected of him. Without going too far, a good way to illustrate the way that these pick ratings work is, think of what is the worst possible thing that could happen. What if a casual is let loose, has no team coordination, and no real understanding of the champion? Off to a good start here. Warwick in the top 3 of champions who can go immediately. Very early starter. Got some French boy on French boy violence. He smells blood in the most literal sense, and it seems like my AI companion has been lying to me, because I'm doing much better now that I'm going with the third spell first. And you rip the soul out of their body? That's gotta count for poke, right? Now I respect Kled, I do, but I respect myself more. And always a good feeling when it's first blood. And you have to believe that illaoi was named Bertha in a previous life, right? Come charging down that lane like on Plumper Pass. And Kled has that passive attack speed burst. So he's a lot like Warwick, very dangerous in early games. You're gonna know with Kled very early on. You have Warwick missing on his primal howl a ton of times throughout this early game. When Warwick is using that first spell, makes him very hard to disengage from. Got jaws every time. Lot of reach on there for a melee spell. You have Kled trying to burst me down here at times. But I have too much support coming in. That flash spell can be used offensively as well. Smash the head right into him. That's early game lane dominance. And this Kled player had a lot of vigor, a lot of heart, like a lot of French boys. But his item choices aren't helping him here. You're going to invest in plated steel caps so early in the game. Like I'm not even here. Have some respect for your enemy, you cuck. That double team is not going anywhere, but neither is Warwick. Joke's on you. Meanwhile, Kled is level 7, and Mordekaiser is level 5, and I'm level 9. Wow. It's almost as though there's a reason why we don't play 2 champs in the top lane. I wonder why that is. Could it be maybe that if you constantly have 2 champs in the top lane, that neither one of them is going to get sufficient experience points to keep up with me because they have to divide all the XP? Could that possibly be the reason? It's a rough life being a Warwick snack. You know what the height of irony is? If there is actually one melee champion that would do well with attack speed and marksman items like we always see the Ruined King, it would probably be Kled. Obviously, he's going to be the one guy who's actually built with melee items like a melee champion should. But he could actually have some real benefit from attack speed, which is very unusual, purely because of his passive. The only way that Kled can win this is if Mordekaiser gives him some breathing room and put himself in a position where he can control the pace. But as long as you're behind on those tentacles, it's just an uphill battle. And we see all the signs from emotional desperation setting in, running off to nowhere instead of running to a turret, starting to attack minions directly instead of using other minions, and shielding yourself. For me, running off to nowhere is on the top 3 list of things that I cannot comprehend within League of Legends. I can understand that you're in trouble. I can understand that your situation isn't turning out the way that you hoped that it would. But what I can't understand is that you would rather run into the jungle down a creek than to your turret. That's something that I cannot comprehend. Get this little intermezzo here with our French friend Lux. I don't know what this is meant to be. Doing extra stealth damage or something. We see you moving a lot but never getting out of their range. We see you using abilities but never those appropriate to the situation. When you're in this spot and Mordekaiser abandoned you, you can stop building her like a support. Not that she ever was a support in the first place. You have to think about survivability first here. So much is build choices, and everybody just became Einstein and magically understood that they never needed any health or any resistances, because that would only hold them back. And you don't want to be held back, do you? Ashe doesn't have monstrous range, but it's enough to secure the kill here. At the beginning of the play, it's off to a wander in the woods here, because I have a little package that I have to deliver. We can't leave Warwick blind after all. And if you want to start on illaoi, prepare to get double teamed all night, because that's all I ever see. I frequently wish that they could keep Mordekaiser in the game, but give him a different ultimate, because it just makes him so hard with this ultimate to respect him. That cheap, dirty trick of just putting people in cages left and right. And I mean, I would gloat, but honestly, when I started League of Legends, and sometimes still, I did it last week, I did this all of the time in the beginning, which is ignore the level difference. In League of Legends, you cannot do that. You can't start going after a level 10 tank with a level 6 tank. You're level 6. You're not ready for me. And Mordekaiser misses an obliterate or two, and in no way do you have enough time to take me down before the turret can do its job here. You're mistaking me for some Ashe player or some Jinx player here. Just not that squishy in any way. But it is kind of interesting how both Mordekaiser and Kled ended up planning ambushes and dirty play for the rest of the game, especially because neither one of them ever communicated with each other or said a word. No pings, nothing. They just kind of knew that it was ambushing time, and so they were going to ambush. Kled, despite all things, still eating that level difference. How many times did you see Eclipse go off here? Another brilliant usage of Eclipse. Land two abilities in rapid succession on the enemy, and you will get an extra shield. Viable champions, Riven, Renekton, Zed, that's about it. That is about it. But it looks really cool in the shop, right? And it's really glowy and shiny and sparkly. Now, honestly, Kled could easily by himself overpower a lot of people, because you're really fighting an uphill battle here and you're using all the wrong items. Without any armor, it's a miracle that you didn't go down sooner. Not a single member of the blue team was using appropriate items. You have Yone here being built with ability haste, no attack speed, no crit chance, no damage, as mutilated and broken as you can make Yone. And with all of that, he still hits the red team for like 30 to 40% of their life points, which is demented. The Baron buff, always useful in this part of the game. We have Nasus being built with raw attack damage in Bloodthirster and a mobility tool in Dead Man's Plate. These are not Nasus items. Appropriate Nasus items would be Thornmail, Caenix Rukern, and with this Warwick snatching up Lux beneath the turret, we see an example of a turret pull that would actually work, as opposed to what Mordekaiser tried on me. I love the fact that the Scaly was actually played in the mid lane. It's a very smart way of doing things. I wish that everybody would. And Kaylee a little bit like Yone in the sense that it's either all or nothing. When she gets going, she can really snowball. And yeah, this is not a skill issue or a item issue. This is an everything issue. Taking a look at the scoreboard here, we have Saifeddin here. Things worth considering. You are in fact in no way split pushing. This was an individual who didn't care about the interests of the group or about shared values, but who just wanted to score as much as possible, and he was going to go wherever he wanted to go. And so he did. And that is a 1, 11, and 2 for this Mordekaiser here. Yeah, and these kinds of antics with Yone are precisely the reason why I gave him such a low score for such a long time. And I would imagine that there were some people who got mad at me over giving Yone low ratings and low reviews. It's never about his ceiling. It was never about his ceiling. It's about the fact that you need discipline and you need insight and patience to build Yone and play Yone correctly. And this is just not something that works well in the casual world. Yone is not a casual champion. Long live the Universal Build Guide. Hooray! Put the Thornmail on, boy, and you're gonna get rid of those 3 deaths here. This person died here right where I was grinding it out. Never noticed him. Apparently he also died right next to the drinking fountain. Yeah, you're going to want to minimize deaths, especially something as stanky as Nasus. Every time you die, the enemy receives money. Yeah, we have this Mordekaiser player who is playing predominantly the top lane and also the bottom lane. Moving on.
There are kind and gentle gods. Mine isn't one of those. I don't scare, I don't die, and I don't stop. Go back to where men are weak and need your inspiration.
slain.
Many die. Worthy souls fight me forward. We are born knowing what to do. We must only act. Thought you wanted to visit!
An ally has been slain.
You are ghastly!
An enemy has been slain.
Motion.
An ally has been slain.
Blessed is motion. Naga!
You have slain an enemy.
Hoi Baru. Galia. She. It is not what we have. It is what we can throw away.
An enemy has been slain.
This is a great day. Reality is brutal. Child, you must always fall. Prove yourself.
Killing spree.
Bahru Lagat.
An enemy has been slain.
Life is too short for fear. They need wisdom. They don't need me. If I hate something, I destroy it. If I want something, I take it. Life is the sweetness of fruit and the joy of battle. Kebur! It is a kick in the The waves will drag you down unless you fight through them. Things should be held only when we need them.
Dominating.
They must be
Turret plating will fall soon.
This will be quick.
Rampage.
Done through.
Your team has destroyed a turret. Killing spree. An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Shut down. Now,
Do you see the truth? Bear trap internet! Another keyboard.
An enemy has been slain. Double kill.
My name is illaoi. I am a teacher. Here's what
An
I
enemy
learned.
has been slain.
Oh, you ain't leaving, are you? To live is to
Your
fight.
team has destroyed a turret. Dominating. godlike. Your team has destroyed a turret. Shut down. An ally has been slain.
I value truth and bargain.
Killing spree. Killing spree.
Tried to bushwhack a bushwhacker. How could I love only one man? They break too easily.
An enemy has been slain.
Heal by fire. Show you to navigate. Navigate no shame. Shock. I should buy everyone one of these.
Rampage. Unstoppable.
I break hearts. I break spines. I slayed greater serpents as a child.
Dominating. Killing spree.
Even if I die in motion.
destroyed a turret. Rampage. Your team has destroyed an inhibitor. Your team has destroyed an inhibitor.
I bring the light wrath. Endure.
Your team has destroyed a turret. Shut down.
Flame purified. Abomination.
Your team has destroyed a turret. You have slain an enemy. Shut down.
There is joy in food and fighting.
Unstoppable. Unstoppable.